Welcome, good afternoon, everyone, friends and family, artistic colleagues, and guests. My name is Chris Handley. I'm the artistic director at the Alleyway Theater and the president of the Theater District Association of Western New York. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2022 Buffalo Theater District Plaza of Stars induction ceremony, honoring this year's inductee, Vincent O'Neill, co-founder and artistic director emeritus of Irish Classical Theater Company. To begin our program today, I'd like to invite Louise Andrews to speak on behalf of the Andrews family.
Hello. It's so wonderful to be here. As some of you may know, my father, Peter Andrews, passed away 2 weeks ago, or else he would be up here raising a glass, proverbially to you, Vincent. So I must confess, this is the first time I've been in public since my dad's funeral, but I thought that this was a very appropriate time because Vincent and Chris and Josephine and the Irish Classical Theater Company are such an integral part of our love of Buffalo. Many years ago when I was in grad school, my mom and dad said, "Oh my goodness, I saw this fantastic show and I met these brothers, Chris and Vincent O'Neill, and we hung out drinking, and oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to meet them." And that's how a friendship of many, many years started. So the Andrews and the O'Neills are just connected. We have been and we always will be. And I just want to say, from my mom and dad, here's to you, Vincent.
Thank you. It is now my honor to invite Erie County Executive Mark Polenkars to the podium.
Thank you. I certainly, when I heard about today, I said I have to attend this. I get a lot of invites to many different things, and I can't attend everyone, but this one was one I had to attend for Vincent. Not only has he been a friend, but it's fair to say we would not have the incredible arts and cultural scene that we have in Buffalo and Erie County without his steadfast support, not only for his own theater, but for everyone's. And trust me, I've heard about everyone else's from him through the years. And it just goes to show his love of this community, his support of this community, and his understanding as someone who came from far away, the assets and the people that we have in Buffalo and Erie County. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, I want to congratulate you, Vincent, on this honor. And I do have some powers as Erie County Executive, and one of them is to make proclamations. And while I won't read the whole thing because I think you know the story, it is my distinct honor to hereby proclaim that September 12th, 2022 is Vincent O'Neill Day in Erie County on behalf of all of your work and support for our great community. Congratulations, and on behalf of myself and the people of Erie County, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, County Executive. Next, I'd like to invite ICTC Executive Artistic Director Kate LeConte Alcacer to the podium to share Vincent's legacy and a special proclamation from the city of Buffalo. Kate.
Good afternoon, all. It's so lovely to see so many friends, family, colleagues, and supporters here this afternoon. Thanks for spending your time with us today. Thank you, County Executive, for joining us. I also want to extend my gratitude to Theater District, to Chris Handley, to Louise Andrews, Larry Quinn, our bagpiper, David Gray, incredible, thank you, yes. and to you all for joining us in celebrating Vincent O'Neill and his richly deserved induction into the Buffalo Theater District's Plaza of Stars today. Many thanks for joining us. Before we begin, I'd like to just take a moment to ask you to turn over your shoulder. Can't see it from this direction, but just know that on the corner there, the street sign, on this corner here of Main and Tupper, and on the back corner of Main and Chippewa, and directly in front of the theater, we have newly erected signs, today being the first day they're unveiled, the Brothers O'Neill Way. You may remember that several years ago they were named the Chris O'Neill Way, and through many friends and a lot of Irish fairy dust, we made it happen for today. So thank you to everybody who was a part of that. The third sign is directly outside the door to our theater. So when you're leaving Bijou this evening, go ahead and take a look. So thank you for that. Vincent, I know Chris is shining down on us seeing those signs. To be inducted into the Plaza, one must greatly and successfully contribute to the rich cultural fabric of the theater performing arts in Buffalo. To be loved, respected, and revered by friends, family, colleagues, and students, locally, nationally, and internationally, one must share their heart and their passion to be brave, courageous, and burn their light so brightly as a torch for what may come. This is how a legacy is set and shines on for decades. Vincent, where would we be without your roguish arrival to Buffalo 40 years ago? I wouldn't be standing here, I can tell you that much. Yours and Chris and Josephine's and Jim Ward's idea to begin the Irish Classical, which now we all know, standing here, is the rich jewel of artistic integrity embedded in the fabric of our community. Your innovation, dedication, and work ethic to keep going, to define obstacles and hurdles and blaze trails and make things happen. Your attention to detail and your will to continue. Thank you for all you have given Buffalo and the theater community. We love you for that. Thank you. And so yes, clearly we are here to celebrate your induction today, but the truth is, your star has shone brightly for many, many years, lighting the way for us all. We just happen to gather today to raise a glass and celebrate it, so good for us that we can do this together. To further mark this occasion, I too have a copy of a proclamation, and I am going to read a little bit of it because we all know the story, but isn't it nice to hear it again? Yes. So, I am honored to read the following as a testament to your devotion to the city of Buffalo and to the theatrical arts, which we love so dearly. Whereas the city of Buffalo is committed to recognizing and celebrating the positive contributions individuals have made to further strengthen society and our community. And whereas on this day, we honor Vincent O'Neill, co-founder and artistic director emeritus of the Irish Classical Theatre Company, on his induction into the Plaza of Stars. And whereas, before founding the Irish Classical Theatre Company, Vincent trained as an actor at the Abbey Theatre School of Acting, a branch of Ireland's National Theatre. He also trained as a mime, which is one of my favorite parts about him, under Marcel Marceau for several years, ultimately graduating from Marceau's International Mime School in 1980. Later, he founded the Oscar Mime Company, Dublin's first professional mime company, as well as the Dublin Theatre School. And whereas, also in the 1980s, Vincent was appointed to the drama faculty at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. In 1985, he was invited to become a member of the Abbey Theatre Company. Am I getting this right? Okay. As an actor and director. He toured with this company throughout the world and was invited by both the President and Prime Minister of Ireland to give performances of his acclaimed one-man show, Joyosity. And whereas, in 1989, Vincent relocated to Western New York, and has since worked as an actor and director at all of the region's major theaters. Did you all know that he won the very first ever Art Voice Award, the Artie, for Outstanding Actor, very first one, and also won Arties in the categories of Outstanding Director, Outstanding Playwright, and the Career Achievement Award. And whereas, Vincent's other achievements include the YMCA's Toast of Buffalo Award for his contribution to the cultural life of Western New York, Irishman of the Year, Citizen of the Year by the Buffalo News, and winner of the Arts Council's Outstanding Artistic Organization Award. And whereas Vincent O'Neill's incredible work in the theater industry ensures that the city of Buffalo will be able to appreciate both its Irish heritage and theater culture for many years to come. So please join me in congratulating this day, September 12, 2022, Vincent O'Neill Day. Again. Vincent, you know I love you. You know I wouldn't be up here without you. And I'm so honored to be here today and to welcome you, theater legend and fine friend. Please join me in welcoming co-founder and artistic director emeritus of Irish Classical Theatre Company, Vincent O'Neill.
Thank you all. Thank you. I don't know who's running this thing, but giving a microphone to an Irishman is a really bad idea. But I'll try and be brief. Firstly, I want to thank the Theatre District Association for their illuminated wisdom and visionary notion to award this Hall of Fame to me. All jokes apart, I'm thrilled. It's a singular honor and it means an awful lot to me on many, many levels. So thank you. I want to thank you all for gathering in large numbers today. I see Mark Golan has just joined us. So we have people who, well, Brian Delaney, playwright in residence, he came from Vermont twice, because the car broke down halfway, he had to go back. And he came a second time to be here today. Marianne Moriarty came all the way from, it begins with a K and it's not Kansas. Kentucky, there you go. Mitch O'Donnell territory. And I think John Collins came from South Carolina, so we have people coming from all points, north and south, to be here, and that's very, very meaningful to me. I particularly want to reach out. I have been ill since April. I want to reach out to a small group of people who have stayed in daily contact with me throughout this ordeal. Kevin Brady and Helen, obviously Chris O'Brien and Jen, Rick Smith and Jen, David Lamb and Marsha, and my good friend, the movie maker, Peter McGuinness. That was a plug so I get into his next movie. So I think I've got to be one of the luckiest people in the world. I mean, if you think of the life of an actor, what you do is you wait by the phone for that phone call from Sol Elkin, whoever, to say that I'm considering casting you, or I'm considering auditioning you, or I'm considering you seriously for a role. And you wait by that phone, and very often it doesn't ring. So I was in this envious, ridiculous position where I could choose all the plays I wanted to do. I could act whenever I wanted to act in whatever role I wanted, and I could direct whatever plays I fancied. So this is like, you know, winning the lotto for an actor. I tried to be judicious in my choices and as fair as possible, but I did have a little bit of leeway and a little bit of influence and pull, to be honest with you. So we think of ourselves as actors as like the be-all and the end-all, that the world kind of spirals around our performances. But of course we all know that the number of people who contribute to theatre is endless, from, you know, the director to the stage management, to the production manager, to the staff, to the designers, to the board of trustees. it just goes on and on and on, not to mention the audiences and subscribers who walk in, because there's no theatrical event without the audience. So, a potted history of Irish classical, I promise you I'll be brief. We came here in 1985. Jim Sheridan walked into a room. That's Jim Sheridan, the Daniel Day-Lewis movie guy. And his brother was directing Waiting for Godot in Dublin. He asked us to bring it to New York. We couldn't get the rights to put it on in New York, so we put it on in Nazareth College in Rochester. And somebody else walked through the door, and that was Kevin Townsend, who ran the Airways Hotel out by the airport. And he asked us, would we do it in Buffalo in the Airways Hotel? So we did it in the basement of a hotel, in the dining room, Waiting for Godot, and somebody from the Buffalo News saw it, raved about it. And the next person who walked in the door was David Lamb, and it was the door of a pub. And he spent some fruitful hours knocking back pints with Chris O'Neill, and he invited him to stay on in Buffalo. And Chris, who'd jump at anything illegal, like a rabbit out of a furze bush, he jumped at the occasion and stayed on in Buffalo. I had to go back to Dublin because I was with the Abbey Theatre at the time and I was under contract. But they were the first few people who walked into our lives and made a difference. See, you think you're on your own on stage or not. There are hundreds of ghosts walking with you. So after a 5-year gap, something came in the door, but this time it was in the mail, and it was a visa that gave me the ability to work and live in the United States for the rest of my life. And this was like a computer random selection thing, like basically a lotto. So I took it and I said, let's go for 6 months. So Josephine and baby Laura and myself headed off to Buffalo, New York. Why Buffalo, New York? Because Chris O'Neill was the only person we knew living in America. And we just got a visa to America, so we said we'll start in Buffalo, and after 6 months we'll go to the Bright Lights. Well, of course, you know the story. The Bright Lights were in Buffalo, and that following summer, we all got together over a beer again in the patio outside off Elmwood Avenue. It was Josephine, Jim Ward, Chris O'Neill and myself, and we formed the Irish Classical Theatre Company. We all put $200 in a hat. 3 of the 4 people took their $200 back. I won't name names at this point. So we formed the company. I know that for 3 years we were kind of in the wilderness. We'd perform at the Pfeiffer Theatre, or at Damon College, or at Alleyway, wherever we could rent a space. And 2 people walked in the door at the Alleyway when we were doing a summer show, and they were Joan and Peter Andrews, who, as Louise attested earlier, became fast friends for over 30 years. And I sorely miss our good friend Peter, who passed away over a week ago. So we went back after being strolling players in the wilderness. The next person who walked on stage was Mark Goldman. Now, Mark, as we all know, is quite mad, and we used to call him the Mexican jumping bean because you could never find him. So we never had a real conversation, but in between mutterings, he basically offered us the use of the Holly Farms. It was a 7-Eleven delicatessen as a theatre. So I walked into Holly Farms, and there were all these hanging refrigerators, 2 massive supporting pillars, nowhere whatsoever for an audience to sit. And somebody else came in, Patrick O'Shaughnessy from Buff State, a set designer, and he said, look, this is what you're going to do. You're going to put the audience around the edges and put the action in the middle. I said, that would never work. And he said, well, give it a try, because you're only going to have 40 seats if you don't do that. So we did, and we managed to fit 100 seats in. So Mark Goldman's one of those other people who just walked into our lives and transformed them. Now, if you have a theatre space, it allows you to build an audience base and a subscriber base. So we were beginning to become serious. So after 5 years with Mark, we'd outgrown the space, and we were looking for a new space. We looked at 30 different venues in Buffalo, and the person who walked on stage at that point was Larry Quinn. And Larry not only discovered the spot down below where the Andrews Theatre was going to be built, but he also oversaw the entire construction and followed it through, made it happen. He introduced me to Frank McGuire, God bless him. And Frank said, you know what, you build the theatre, Larry, and I'll pay for it. Well, he paid for it with a lot of friends. The Andrews, of course, Calvin Rand, Ed Linder, a whole bunch of people, foundations, corporations, M&T, you name it. A lot of people. But we raised 1.3 million, and we were able to build the theatre. So that was another little miracle that happened. Again, you think you're on your own on stage with all these people clamoring to get on and help you out. So at every stage of the game, there was somebody to take me by the hand, there was somebody to lead me over to the next hurdle, there was somebody to be there, reassure me, get me through the next phase. So that was the new theatre was called the Andrews Theatre because they gave the leading gift for the theatre, and it's been on their name has been on proudly on the theatre ever since. So I'm particularly proud now that it is with the loss of Peter and Joe. So Louise, thank you for being here today. It means an awful lot. I just want to talk a little bit about the future of the company. The future is in great hands because one of the best people who ever walked through the door was Kate LeConte. Kate, as we know, is a brilliant actress, brilliant director, administrator, teacher, and organizer. And I could not have chosen a better individual to take over Irish Classical Theatre Company. So we're in good hands, and she's an amazing staff. I'm not going to name Cassie and everybody right now, but there's favoritism for you. See how that works? Yeah, Cassie and Stephen and Elizabeth and Kate and Charmaine and Mary Lulliger, of course, in marketing. I think that's most of them. And Patrick Cameron and others. You know, it's happening so quickly that I lose track of it. So let me tell you a quick story about the opening of the Andrews Theatre, and then I'll let you go. It wasn't all smooth sailing. In fact, it happened during a blizzard. We arrived, Josephine and I, on these woolly shores in the middle of a blizzard. And when we came in 1985 with Waiting for Godot, it was the middle of a blizzard. So I was kind of happy when I looked at the sky this morning and said, this is going to go really well. So now the hex is upon us. But we had a Russian set designer. Now the show we were doing, as Louise remembers well, she was in it, was The Three Sisters by Anton Chekhov in an Irish version. And we thought it'd be really cool to have a Russian director. So let's call him Igor to protect the non-innocent. So Igor was brilliant and gave a wonderful presentation, and he was going to do this intricate set with wicker work for all the rooms and Persian rugs, and that was the basic concept for it, but he made it look so beautiful. So we were thrilled with this, but he was very, very slow getting off the ground, and he made a mysterious trip to North Carolina, and we called him up, fortunately, and we said, what's going on, Igor? And he said, I fall in love. I fall in love with a beautiful woman. We make love all day. We make love all night. I want you to come here and watch. It is a miracle. I said, excuse the French, fuck that, Igor. Where's the set? He said, you have beautiful pictures. You make the set. Now I go make love. And he disappeared. So Fortune and I looked at each other, and Fortune, as you know, ran the theatre company with me for 20 years. So my best advice always comes from him. And we said, we've got to bring in the troops. So Ken Shaw from Theatre of Youth and about 20 of his buddies invaded the space, finished the build, and this is in the middle of a blizzard, finished the decoration, got the set with Joan and Peter Andrews from the basement of Studio Arena somewhere, and we got the Persian rugs. I think they were stolen, but we managed to put the set together and the show opened. Now that encapsulates the spirit of Buffalo, what Ken Shaw and that group did that night. So every time I've been on my own on stage, I've not been on my own, because there's always somebody there to reach out to help me. That's the spirit of Buffalo. So I've really only 3 words to say: thank you, Buffalo.
And now if you'll all just turn around for the unveiling of the star.
You weren't joking.
Thank you all. If you care to join us, please join us down at the Bijou. David Gray will lead us in a processional. Thank you so much for being here. Please join us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for making your way over here to Bijou. And thank you for joining us for these festivities. And now, please find yourselves a flute of champagne or your favorite cocktail and join me in welcoming my other buddy, mentor, and friend, ICTC Associate Director Fortunato Pezzamenti, for our champagne toast. Thank you, Fortune.
Thank you. I'll try to keep this short so you can get to drinking champagne. Vincent, it is an honor to offer this toast to you, as you have been so crucial in my life and the theater world in Buffalo, so I thank you for that. And I have to say, I think we are all very grateful that somehow your star ascended and your destiny ended up in Buffalo to create the Irish Classical Theater Company. Thank you. I was going to say that it's impossible to list all of the accomplishments that and honors and activities that the Irish Classical Theater has undergone, but you did that earlier, so we'll just let that go. Right. I should know better than try to follow. But I just pull your. I forget my lines. I'm sorry. So, Vincent, I think we here are all grateful and fortunate that you indeed came to Buffalo to create this company, and that honor is something that to work with you is something I will always cherish. The impact you had on the company, you shared with us your love of words, your love of language, your love of poetry, your love of Irish literature, your love of Irish theater, your love of great writing in general, and your avid love of soccer. Right. Because every 4 years, when the World Cup was on, he was MIA. And I have to confess, I was with him on some of those occasions. And Debbie Wineski knew all about it, but she kept her mouth shut. So board members who are here, too late. These attachments I just mentioned infuse the mission of the Irish Classical Theater and affirm the company as a great cultural institution of Western New York, and I thank you for that. Your star has indeed shone for over 30 years, and finally we have some tangible touchstone of that experience. Looking back, it sometimes may seem like a dream when we think back to all the productions, all the activities, the wake of Irish Classical Theater, but what's vivid is our memories of the shows that we have seen, how we laughed, how we cried, how we debated, as we recall the magic that you created on the stage of the Andrews Theater, how instrumental you were in that creation. For all of that, we thank you, Vincent. You were the visionary that brought together the financial, the artistic, the committed audience that you cultivated. We thank you for that. At the end of the Tempest, we're doing the Tempest in January, February. Prospero relinquishes his magical powers. And I know that sometimes comparisons are difficult, but I think of you and how you relinquished the artistic directorship of Irish Classical Theater because the time was right for Kate Licati, right? And this is the same thing with Prospero. The time is right. I quote Prospero, "Our revels are now ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into thin air. We are such stuff as dreams are made of." Thank you once again, Vincent, for sharing your dreams and magic with us. Bravo.
Thank you.
And toast.